Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Monorail Monday. This is the third episode of Season 2, and hopefully this is going to be a fun one. We're not going to jump into the archives as much this time. This is going to be more story time. Tell you a couple of stories from monorail history, but don't you worry, I got some good archive stuff for you here. Just share a couple of things. First, here's an interesting one. This is my mom, back in the early days of the 70s, and she is looking at her Magic Kingdom map. Those little cartoon maps you've seen in the past. She's looking at the map and making plans for what to do when we drive up the road to Walt Disney World. So we were planning our stay here. There were no unofficial guides. There was no internet and forums and stuff. You just got a map and you just perused. And you said, what are we going to do? So just thought I'd share that. There's many more pictures, but I just thought I'd share that might be of a kind of interest. And a few folks have asked, hey, do you have any pictures of you in costume? I do. Not very many. In hindsight, I wish I'd gone and done that a whole bunch of times. But we weren't carrying around phones with cameras in our pocket all the time where I could just shoot 1,000 photos, and also was shooting film where you had 24 shots in a roll and you had to make them count. You couldn't just shoot 50 selfies and go, oh, I like this one best. No, it cost money. So you didn't shoot just a bunch of random photos in the parks like you can now. But I do have a couple of photos, and here's one. Here's one that I did dig into the vault for this. But here's one here, and that's me. I'm the guy up against the monorail there. One of my fellow monorail pilots with me. This is probably, I don't know, 90, 91 maybe, 92. So hopefully he said, yep, that's me in costume, skinny little guy. And I hope you enjoyed last week's look at traditions. The traditions folder and some of the stuff that was in there, that was pretty cool. But I just want to make sure you know, the vault is not empty. No, there is a lot more vault to come. For example, right here, I have a monorail study guide, a Mark 6 monorail study guide. Look at this. Glossary terms, list of the stations. Here's map with whole points. I mean, this has got all sorts of stuff. All the monorail facts, Mark 6 monorail fact sheet. This is going to be a lot of fun with the episode we go over that. Back into the vault with you. What else do we have coming from the vault? Oh my gosh, this is good. Universal. We're going to do a Universal one maybe next week. Maybe episode 4 or maybe episode 5. I got Captain Jake's Amity Tours. This is paste material. Yeah, there's going to be some good Jaws stuff from Universal. Put that back in the vault. How about this? Oh, this is Jaws Operation Manual. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. Jaws doesn't exist anymore. This is early Jaws. This isn't a 2010 stories Jaws. This is Jaws from the early 90s when it had just come back. That's got to go back in the vault for now. That's coming soon. Some of this may have to hold off till season 3. We may have to hold off. Oh boy, look at this. This is everything monorails. I've got a Mark 6 monorail operations checklist. There's some cool stuff in here. I've got lead sheets. I've got accident investigation reports. I mean, there is just about any kind of thing. How about a Disney Trainer's Handbook? Would you like to see what's in the Disney Trainer's Handbook from 25 plus years ago? There is some good stuff, but it's got to go back in the vault. We'll get to that real soon on a future episode. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Keep up with what's going on with Monorail Monday. So let's talk about the couple of stories I got for you today. The first story, celebrities. Yes, there are celebrities all the time at the parks. Usually, they will have a plaid. Most of you know what the plaids are. They got the little plaid vests, guest service, guest relations, VIP tours. They'll take them through the utilidors, often to avoid being spotted and being hassled by other guests. Sometimes they'll just be walking through maybe with a hat and some sunglasses and things like that. But yeah, I ran into tons of celebrities. John Stamos, let's see, Bernie Kosar from the Cleveland Browns, Nancy Kerrigan, yes, the skating one. And yes, she was just as obnoxious in person as the stories are. All sorts of different celebrities. Billy Idol, constantly pouring through. Sometimes they were in their cabs, sometimes you just saw them walking through monorails. But there's always celebrities. But the biggest celebrity that I encountered in my time at Walt Disney World was none other than the Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson. No, I did not get to touch him or shake his hand. He traveled with an entourage, and frankly, everybody was supposed to stand clear of Mr. Jackson. However, I did stand within about 2 or 3 feet of him as he walked through and said, hey there, thank you guys for helping us out. So basically what the story was here, I'm driving Monorail Red on the exterior, or what's now called the Express Beam. And I was told, hey, you're going to be pulled out of the train. They got a supervisor and a VIP coming, and they're taking over the train. And I finally figure out this VIP that's coming is Michael Jackson. And Michael is coming up to get in the train and drive to the Magic Kingdom Park. And he's renting it out for the night. The park was supposed to close, I think, at about 7 o'clock this night. We're in the middle of sort of doing the exit process. Park was going to be closed at 7. And so Michael and his crew, his gathering of entourage and people, they were all going to be renting the park out for the night. So they were on their way there. So Michael basically was going in with a supervisor, another trainer other than myself, and some of his entourage. And we were kind of joking around saying, oh, obviously they're going to let Michael drive the monorail. And Michael's not trained. He's not a checked out driver. This is not good. I wouldn't want to be on the train when Michael makes a mistake and causes a problem. And so we were all kind of hatching these conspiracy theories of how, well, if we were on there, obviously if there's a problem or an incident occurs, Michael Jackson's not going to take the fall. No, it's going to be the trainer who's on the train. He will now be the one who was at the helm when things went wrong. So I thought, oh my God, is it a good thing because then maybe you get paid off or something? Or is it a bad thing because who wants to take the fall for Michael Jackson? He shouldn't be driving the train at all. Anyway, I wasn't in the train, so it was just a lot of yapping and jibber-jabber between cast members. So basically, you know, it was holding people back and trying to direct people on move along, leave Michael alone. I was not really a Michael Jackson fan. I didn't really ever care for Michael Jackson that much. And, you know, we kept the place clear for Michael, and then, you know, people were coming up, oh my gosh, did you see him? What did he say? What did he say? People were just losing their minds. Michael Jackson was here. So it was cool they got to see him, but ultimately, you know, it's just a guy passing through and renting out the park for, you know, $1 million a night or whatever the heck it was. So the next story I want to tell you is about working in an area outside of monorails. What I used to do was call and get overtime shifts just about anywhere and everywhere on resort property. We are going to cover in a future episode just how some of that worked in all the different areas I worked in. But this one particular night was for New Year's Eve. Anybody who worked New Year's Eves, oh my gosh, that was something most of us tried to avoid. Do not work New Year's Eve. Do whatever you can. Be senior enough. They gave out the free noisemakers. Oh my gosh, you'd hear that all night for hours on end. And I wanted no part of a 2 or 3 a.m. exiting the Magic Kingdom kind of rush. That was the pits, New Year's Eve. So I worked one of those and I said never again. I did work on New Year's Eve, but not in monorails. I got an overtime shift working valet at the Contemporary. So this was a position that they just had an open shift. I called, hey, I heard they had some open shifts available for New Year's Eve. Yeah, So I went over there and got into a costume over at the Contemporary, and just showed up and said, all right, what do you want me to do? I wasn't really trained, and for some of these overtime shifts, you're not trained for the full operation of the ride maybe. So in this case, there's no ride, but there were a lot of procedures. Luckily for them, I knew how to drive a stick, and that was huge, because that means, oh, they've got somebody who now, these people show up in these sports cars with a stick, I can take that. So it was pretty cool to do something like that for a day. It's something different from the usual job. And plus there was the opportunity for tips from the valet. So, you know, I thought this is kind of cool. It's at the hotel. Generally, it got busy at times, but it was a fairly low-key kind of thing, not like like a rush exiting of the park or something like that with monorails. So I drove some very wild cars. Some guy came in and had a Jag. I think somebody else came in and they had wasn't a Lamborghini, but it was some other, maybe a Ferrari. There were a couple of hot cars that came in that night, but it was kind of funny because I hadn't done valet before, and you're driving all kinds of different cars, so you're trying to figure out where are the lights on this thing if they had turned the lights off. Where's this? Where's that? Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm laying down, or like I'm a pilot in a jet aircraft or something like that. So it's kind of cool with that. But at one point, a guest had come up with a request saying that guest services had sent them to us at the valet stand. And they asked, can we take them to, they need a prescription filled, and they don't know where to go, and they really need this prescription. And so they said we could take them there. Well, it's busy, it's New Year's Eve. You can imagine this is not the best time to be looking for a prescription replacement. And it being New Year's Eve, all the regular valets are like, oh, this is a fool's errand here. You're just going to be taking somebody and driving them around hunting for this prescription, hunting for a pharmacy that's still open that can provide this prescription. But you're not going to get any tips. You're not. Your evening's going to be shot as far as that. So none of them want any part of it. And they said, "How about this guy? How about the guy who doesn't even work in our area? He can do it." I said, "Sure, I'll take this guy around." So I loaded this gentleman and his wife into the Disney van with me, and no GPS or anything. I just said, all right, let's start going. Where are the most likely places to go to get this So we had no GPS. There's no internet. Where are the 4 closest locations of a Rite Aid or a Walgreens, CVS? No, I just got to go on my knowledge of Orlando, Kissimmee area, and we just started going and driving. Where are we going to go to try and find the prescription that these folks need? So we had a good conversation, and I said, hey, just bear with me. We're just going to go and hunt for a couple of places and see if we can find it. So finally, we hit 2 places heading down 192. I finally found the 3rd place we stopped at. I think it was a Walgreens. We finally stopped. Their pharmacy was still open, and they could fill the prescription. Waited about a half hour for them to fill the prescription. You know how pharmacies are. And they filled the prescription, and so I drove them back. And they were very nice, very friendly people. They were super appreciative that somebody was willing to do this. And this was definitely sort of an above and beyond. Disney doesn't go driving people around town, just willy-nilly. So I got them back, and I ended up getting a huge tip off that. I refused it multiple times, as is Disney regulation. You have to refuse it at least, I think, 2 or 3 times. They insisted. They were super insistent. They said, no, this was super important to us. We really want you to have it. So I ended up making way more on that tip than I did if I'd stuck around parking cars during that. It was probably an hour and a half that I was gone. And once I let the other guys at the valet stand know what happened, they were just like, oh man, I should have taken them around. So that was pretty cool though. It was very interesting, a very different experience from doing the monorail thing. And just seeing it from the hotel side, because I didn't actually get to work long term at any of the hotels. So it was kind of cool to see it from that angle, as opposed to the constant churning of the monorails and dealing with park hours and things like that. And the cars were cool, and everybody I worked with in the Contemporary Valet was very cool. So there's a couple of stories for today. Episode 3 of Monorail Monday Season 2. If you have not seen any of our previous episodes, we've got episodes 1 and 2. We also have Season 1 with 6 more episodes. If you haven't checked those out, look at the link below. There's a playlist. All of Season 1 is involved there. And we got more to come. I showed you a couple of those things at the beginning. There's much more stuff from the archives. There's a lot more cool stories. And I know I really want to tell everybody about when I was working overtime at all the different areas around the parks and resorts. That was really cool, and something that a lot of people don't necessarily get to do. So I appreciate everybody watching, taking the time out of your day to watch the videos that we put up, whether they're Monorail Monday or some of our regular videos that are also on Thursdays, some of our adventures and travels. Very much appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing, liking, sharing, and telling your friends. Until next week, remember kids, have a good time all the time.